Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to What's the Damage, the good old WTD question mark here on my channel, the absolute longest running series on this channel ever, and I feel so old every time I say that. My very first video ever was What's the Damage, man. Holy freaking crap. Never think it would become something so big and huge and sprawling on my channel here with hundreds of videos talking about things that make me angry. And today is going to be no exception, you know. And if you have been around for a while, you will recognize this video from having been in already a few years prior, you know. And you guys might be thinking, why is Chazzy constantly redoing old videos and revisiting old topics and this and that, the racism and the thing? But it's because, guys, well, one word, Hollywood. That's it, Hollywood. Hollywood is always remaking their old movies and TV shows, you know, when they run out of ideas. And it's the same thing for a little YouTuber like myself, you know. Once I start to run out of ideas, I go back and redo crappy videos that were actually very, I mean, I didn't like the way they came out the first time, so now that my stuff looks better, I'm trying to redo some of them, you know. And a lot of you are recent subscribers, so maybe it'll be a chance for you to, you know, relive some of the glory days on this channel. But anyway, so in case you guys don't know, I love animals, you know, nature in general, the animal kingdom, plants, flowers, that kind of thing. I do love the planet. I try to live a sustainable lifestyle so I can recycle and stuff, you know. So when it comes to harming, you know, things in nature, such as, for example, animals and trees, I really do get very fiery about it, and I'm very passionate about defending that. And today I'm going to be talking about something that really truly just rattles me down to my core, you know. It just shakes my soul all over the place, you know. The Ténéré tree. Alright, I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but still, I don't speak whatever language that it's in, you know. But this tree here was for a time considered to be the most isolated tree on the planet because there was literally no other tree for 250 miles around. The only other closest tree was the lost tree, you know, to the north, and even then, man, they were separated by, like, it was like the Bermuda Triangle, you know. There's like each point that forms the triangle was just so isolated, it was freaking crazy, you know. If you were to put these two trees on a scale-to-scale map, you know, they would be like a 1 by 4 million, you know, the distance between them, you know, something of those sort. I don't know how to read maps. So it was actually located in the Ténéré region of the Sahara desert, you know, in northeast Niger. And I'm not sure if I pronounced that country's name correctly either, but still, it's just, I'm not here to pronounce things correctly. I'm here to give you guys the information, you know. Now, this tree here stood alone for decades as the loneliest tree in that region there because it was the remnants of a possibly much greener era of the Sahara desert, you know. There was once a grove of trees there, possibly many more sprawling around in the terrain, but because of the climate change and things becoming drier, they all started to die off, you know. But this tree is a survivor. It just survived forever. And once there was a well that was dug in the late 1930s, they actually discovered that the roots of this tree reached all the way down to between 108 to 118 feet below the sand, you know. So that is how deep its roots went to find water. It was like pretty much a natural lighthouse in the desert, you know. It is actually located next to a well that itself goes down to 130 feet below the surface, you know. So it's freaking crazy. It's really hard to estimate exactly how deep the tree went, but it's estimated that it's around there, what I said, you know. Now, the thing is that this tree here was the true Highlander, you know. It actually had, because it was first discovered in 1934, you know, that's when somebody ran into it, you know. His name was Henry Lethut, who was a French ethnologist and explorer, you know, and he described the tree, you know, as being an acacia with a degenerative trunk, sick or ill in aspect, you know. It actually looked very sickly, but it actually still had a little bit of green, and there was some nice green leaves and even some yellow flowers, you know. So despite it being sickly in appearance, it actually seemed to be thriving, flourishing. It was drinking its water there, you know. It actually served as a landmark for caravan routes, you know. Explorers or merchants who passed through the area saw the tree, knew where they were going, you know. It just stood for a very long time. Then this same explorer revisited the tree again in 1959, but he saw that it seemed to be damaged, you know, from apparently a vehicle crashing into it, but it was still standing, you know. But apparently the collision had left a little bit of a noticeable mark, you know. But the tree was still in good standing. It was still there, you know. It was truly a solitary landmark of the area, and it just God, I mean, if you see photos of it, it does truly look, it's almost kind of haunting now, because you might notice that I'm using the word was a lot here, and there's a reason for that, you know, because this tree really was a solitary acacia. How do I say this tree's name? Acacia? Is it acacia? It sounds better, acacia. I played so many years of RuneScape, but never knew how to pronounce the tree's names that I cut down. Well, probably not the best way to segue into that. Speaking of segue, let's take a look at some photos here of the tree before I continue. Who talked about cutting? I didn't cut anything down. What's wrong with you? I mean, looking at the photos, you might think, oh, it's just a tree. It doesn't really look that special. Let's just remember that it was the only tree in the area, you know, for hundreds of freaking miles, man. And it stood there for hundreds of years as well, you know. And it was actually revered as sort of like this, almost like a divine entity to the local people, you know, because it was considered to be sacred, you know, like it was never cut down for its wood to be used as firewood or anything. Its branches were never snapped off, and the camels were not allowed to eat the leaves or the thorns, you know. It was essentially considered to be taboo, almost like a superstition, you know. And there were even, you know, it was also the site of traditional ceremonial gatherings, you know. So basically it's where the nomads, the Taurine nomads would come together to, you know, sort of do their little ceremonies or rituals, whatever you want to call it, you know, before they would, you know, continue their journey through the Dune Sea. So it was considered to be quite something, you know. It really was a very, it's kind of like the Aladdin reference, you know, that saying, the diamond in the rough, you know. It was crazy. This tree was a lone survivor, and it really embodied how, like, perseverance, you know. However, and this part is really saddening to even think about, but unfortunately the tree met its match in 1973 when this very possibly drunk a-hole was driving his car through the Sahara Desert, and despite having hundreds of miles around him to take his vehicle in, he still somehow managed to crash right into the tree and knock it down. Hundreds of years. Hundreds. This tree withstood storms, you know, if it even rains that much in the desert, you know, droughts, maybe sandstorms, you know, hot, drying climate, you know. It probably resisted animals coming to try to eat from it, or whatever kind of natural disaster you can think of that happens in the Sahara Desert. One freaking jackass who had a little bit too much alcohol to drink got in his truck and just murdered it. The title is not clickbait. The tree was murdered unjustly by this guy, this Libyan driver, who was never apprehended, by the way. He was never caught. Nobody knows who he was. They just know that it was knocked down by him. Now, here's where it gets really sad. Like I said before, this was the only tree in the entire region, so that in and of itself already constitutes something that's actually really hard to take in. However, it's actually even like the tree itself does still exist, you know. The carcass, let's say, was actually picked up and later moved to the Niger National Museum, you know, in the capital of the country, which is Niamey. So it is still there on display today, and it is actually in the pavilion housing, which actually has the tree's real remains, you know. So it's actually really nice. It's a square structure that's all colorful with blue and orange, and it's actually housed right there. So even though the tree is dead, the remains are in a safe place, you know, so people can still continue to worship it and go and see it. I do believe it has become a bit of a tourist attraction, but it is considered to be sacred amongst the people there, so just be respectful when you go and visit it, you know. And in the exact place where the tree itself was, there is a metal structure, you know, that kind of resembles it. So it's just a very simple structure. It doesn't really look too fancy, but it does sort of, you know, look a little bit like the tree, you know. So it's really crazy, man. It was the world's most remote tree, and still it was knocked down. It was always there. It served as a landmark. It was just minding its own business, existing happily, drinking water from hundreds of feet down, and then this goes and happens. I just don't understand people, man. I really don't understand people. I mean, it did, of course, grow in popular culture, you know. It kind of spread out to different kinds of entertainment and media, but it's not enough to honor it. It's not enough to honor it, you know. There are a few other things that I want to say, you know, regarding this whole thing, but before that, let's take a look at some more content here. I don't know if I'm going to show you guys more videos, more photos, or maybe a video or something if one even exists, but you're going to see something here as a transition. There have been a few representations of the tree, you know, in popular culture over the years. Most notably in this 2006 movie called La Gran Finale, which means the great match, you know, in English. I believe it is a Spanish movie because of the title, and it's about a group of Tuareg nomads who actually are in the Sahara, and they're actually racing to find a power supply and a broadcast reception so they can catch the 2002 FIFA World Cup final against Brazil and Germany. And they actually end up using the TV antenna, you know, as they end up using the metal sculpture representing the tree of Ténéré, you know, as the antenna. You know, they use it as a makeshift antenna, but I believe it's a comedy movie, so that's kind of why, you know, it's meant to be humorous, you know, but still, it's, I don't really know, I've never even heard of this movie before doing this research here, you know. So now, years later in 2017, there was a group of artists who created this massive 4-story tall lead sculpture entitled Tree of Ténéré that was actually showcased at Burning Man. Burning Man is this event focused on community art and self-expression, you know, held in the Western U.S. And basically, it comes from this ceremony. I believe they have it every year. I'm not really sure how it works, you know, but still. So in this event here, you know, there was actually this sculpture here that consisted of 25,000 molded leaves, which themselves contained 175,000 LEDs. So it really shone bright, you know. It was really a spectacle, and I believe one of the best representations of the actual tree itself, you know, in popular media. So that's actually something to look forward to as well if it ever happens again, if you go there. Then in 2018, the tree story appeared as the main theme in this official music video by this group, this French musical duo called Ibé, you know. But still, it has actually gone down in history as a very sad case, but it's not as famous as any others, you know. I really think that more awareness should be brought to the tragedy of this tree, because it's a story, and this driver was never caught, you know. He was trying to follow this route, you know, going through the caravan, but still, the guy had the entire damn desert and he still hit the damn tree. I mean, it wasn't an accident, right? You had to have purposely done this, you know. Nobody drives a truck into the only tree for 250 miles and snaps its trunk in half, you know. You don't do that on accident. This was premeditated. But anyway, so I just can't, man. I'm too damn passionate about this. It's really annoying to even talk about it. It's hard for me. But still, I really think that more awareness should be brought to this, and I really do hope that the guy who did it is caught one day. If you ever get the chance, if you're in Niger and you want to go there and see the remains of the tree, you can. At least I didn't find anything online that said that it's prohibited, you know, but maybe just be a little bit respectful because of how it's considered sacred there, you know, so just relax. But I really don't know what else I can say, you know. I really think hopefully this video gets a good amount of views. Hopefully I've educated you guys more about it, you know. And if not, well, it's here. I remade it, you know. It looks a lot better than the first time around. That's the important thing. I'm even wearing the same shirt, you know, to represent the remaking of it. And I'm actually going to end it here, guys. I don't really know what else I can say. Hopefully you enjoyed today's content, you know. I'm sorry if I'm in a little bit of a bad mood here towards the end. It's because I hate talking about this, you know. The poor tree, man. It could have still been standing today, probably. But still, if you guys happen to like this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel because I release videos every single day. And while you're at it, hit the notification bell too so I can know exactly what time I upload. And it's all good. It's all good. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the outro screen, please, without running it over.